Hello, guys, and welcome to the first part of this wonderful series. And before I get into anything, I just want to say that Asta is going to be extremely different in this one. So be ready to be surprised. Things are going to change about his character a lot. His motivations, his way of fighting, all of that, and his reason for why he wants to be a magic knight. It's much more rooted in the actual world. It's not just about being Wizard King. Matter of fact, that's never really going to be brought up, like being Wizard King, like for him personally. Just be ready for the craziness. I hope you enjoy. Kick back, get some food, drinks, or maybe just wash some dishes, whatever you're doing, and just listen to my voice as I recount the tale of what if Asta had Gojo's powers. Named the Fallen Noble. Let's go. We begin this part with the 7-year-old Asta training in a forest. As he holds his hand out, he focuses as he would flick his finger. He causes the ground to be ripped up and a boulder is lifted up, with Asta then grunting and swiping forward. The boulder would then hit a tree and crumble, with him then falling to his knees, as his eyes would flicker with a certain color. I still can't do it. With a frustrated look, he would then get back up, only to instantly get a headache as a side effect of his magic, which he yet does not have a name for. Bearing with the pain, however, Asta would then run and run through the forest he was in until he reached a certain gigantic gate. And that gate on the other side had a certain place, and he used a secret passage underground, and he would go out on the other end and walk into a much more murky like forest covered with the murky mist. Instantly, Asta was too scared to even move forward, but he had to, so he took a step. This is nothing. It's not a big deal. However, he comes to a stop when he hears growling, and from the shadows step out a snarly demonic wolf, entirely black, as it would then leap at Asta, who would grunt and blow the creature away with invisible force. However, as it lands, the wolf would then quickly get back up and run at Asta before then biting and digging into his arm. Asta would scream as he holds his left hand out, and this creates a force that pulls away the monster, as it would snarl and it is left mid-air. Shut up and die! He would then punch the air, and a crushing force hits the wolf's stomach, killing it as he is then let down, and Asta would then wipe off the blood splattered on him. That was sloppy. I'll do better on the next one. He would drag himself farther and farther into the dangerous forest to fight. And you may be obviously confused, so I'll explain what the hell is going on here. This forest Asta has entered is named the Cursed Abyss, one of the many places holding cursed beasts. Years ago, cursed beasts began to appear in different levels of strength, ravaging human homes, killing people. No one knew where they came from, but luckily mages were still a thing, so they fought and slowly started to calm things down until the elves arrived. The elves are people full of abundant energy and mana that have been hiding their existence, but feeling charitable, they came to help humans. This, however, backfired when the humans' greed overtook them, and they killed them, taking their magic with the ritual. Anger overtook their leader that found his people killed by a horde of grade 2 spirits. Beasts, my bad. And in a strange twist, the beast would then merge with them, creating the first ever grade 0 cursed beast, and the first Wizard King took it down. The young man would then die, with the details of the story being fumbled over the times and making people believe that elves were simply devils in disguise. Places were made to hold these dangerous beasts, and at some point Asta willingly chose to just train around there. Why? Because he is alone and must get stronger for the goal of reviving his dead family. Asta was born with white hair, bizarre eyes, even white eyelashes. He got the full package. His magic allowed him to repel, pull, and stop things from touching him, but he was always physically weak as well as mentally weak, so he was a bit meek. That all changed one day, the very same day when he lost everything. As night falls, you then see Asta running out from the forest bloody as he be getting chased by a grade 4 beast who almost get him until he goes underground and digs with his life on the line. He eventually makes it back on the other side and he hears the beast snarling as he lay back in complete exhaustion. How long is this gonna take? Asta's first goal was to bring up his physical strength, and the forest he enters specifically held grade 4 beasts, which are the weakest of the weak. These barriers and walls are almost everywhere except for barren lands plagued with these monsters, and the place that held the most beasts were called Forsaken Realms, and sometimes commoners lived near that area, so places like the Clover Capital were paradises. Asta was in one of those Forsaken Realms, which was of course named close to the orphanage, the town of Hodge. Sorry about the misstep right there. But he chose to live alone. And after eventually dragging himself back to his little own spot where he lived, he would then wrap himself up with leaves to stay from the cold, and he also used magic to kind of help a little bit. And as he shivered and shivered, he started to mumble as he was trying to go to sleep, and a flash of unspecified individuals came into mind, and he would just have these memories flooding his brain when he would then instantly wake up breathing heavily with sweat dripping from him. God damn it! Filled by anger of these nightmares, Filled by the anger that these nightmares brought him, Asta would then get up with a scowl as he begins to stretch, with his eyes then being full of determination. Getting in a push-up position, he would then pump out one before then doing another, with him then shaking all over already, but he did not stop. Those bastards, nobles, those assholes, I'll make them pay. I'll make them. Asta would soon come to a stop at 20 push-ups and would stand as he would pose and start to channel mana. As he clenches his fist, not only does he rip out rubble, but an entire tree before him to a central point in the air, with him then growing a smile. Every day, make a promise to yourself and progress every day. And every day he did, with Asta then going back to the abyss, so much that he surpassed all the beasts over there by the age of 9. He did not hold back on his training and move on to hunting beasts, himself, not just letting them come to him. Doing this, he was soon able to battle Grade 2 beasts in other locations. While this may not have seemed like a big advancement, the levels have a huge gap of power in them, so this is actually a great achievement, considering he had no one to help him. He was now able to use his infinity whenever he wanted, as long as he could track what he wanted to block, and he could repel and pull things with relative ease. But what was most impressive was his physical abilities. Ironically, the one thing that he made the most progress with was him being able to pull off amazing feats with just his muscles. Soon, he and the others who resided in the Forsaken Realm became 15, however, and were able to go to the Grimoire ceremony. Walking back from a hunt, Asta would then walk through the forest while looking out to the village of Hodge, which seemed lively as usual. Oh yeah, it's time for that thing. I need to up my calendar, he thought. He soon then reached his home, which was now a hut, and he sits by a tree as he would grow a smile, saying, yeah, it's time for the rise of the Satoru family. As the sun began to set, all the commoners and their families gathered at the Grimoire Tower, and they flooded the Colosseum, looking up in awe at all the Grimoires they would soon possess. Asta would be the first, one of the first there, and nobles did not gather there, but because they had their own special tower to go, because being part of the Forsaken Realm gives nobles the idea that commoners were not only weak, but dirtied. The Grimoire Tower elder would then make himself known as all the kids then looked to him and he would say, welcome, welcome. It is a big day. This is when your dreams will be fulfilled. I'm looking forward to which one of these grimoires will choose you. With hopeful eyes, the kids then watch as the elder begins the ceremony, and the grimoires start to descend to their rightful owners. Wow, awesome, I got a 2-leaf. My grimoire is so small though. They either complain or were really happy and applaud themselves about their grimoires, and they would just be happy in general to have received spells, or they would just, kind of be apathetic, and this was the key to their dreams, so of course everyone had different things to say about it. In the hands of Asta, then actually falls a 3-leaf, leaving all those who saw this shocked. That guy's strong as hell, isn't he? I wonder what his magic is. It's hard to believe he's one of us, though. I mean, look at him. Hearing all this, Asta would then smile. That's right, I'm different from you weaklings. Must suck, huh? He thought. Wait, look! His look of arrogance would then fade when he sees a shining 4-leaf, and everyone gasps as they would then see it land in the hands of Yuno, and Asta become shocked most of all. With this grimoire, I'm gonna be Wizard King. His declaration left all the commoners quiet, as well as the elder, who could not believe his eyes, just as all the kids would then burst into cheers and laughter, not believing, that it was impossible for him to do such a thing with such a grimoire. Asta would be angry about all this though, as he would then make his way out and end up passing a hooded man. What the hell is this guy? Whatever, he thought. He then left the tower, flipping through his grimoire to find that he didn't even have a single spell, and he pops a vein. What the hell do you want from me, huh? Jeez. Closing up the book, he would then throw it into the sky in anger, only for it to fly back, making him only more mad, but he slowly calms himself down and remembers how it's never easy. Just coming as far as he did took a lot, but he did. So he had to do whatever always made him feel better when he was in these moments. He would just train. So he started heading back home. He passed through the streets, and he got stares from all the girls all over. Like I said, Asta's like, he looks exactly like Gojo, but he didn't even notice and was only flipping through his grimoire. Yeah, there's really nothing. Oh, wait. At the very end of the book, there was a page showing a certain mark, that of an eye. This was bizarre to Asta, who scratched his head in confusion. He kept trying to figure out what this meant until he came to Hodge, but he was still puzzled. Soon, however, he would then pick up something and walk to find Yuno being bound by chains from Revchi. The hell? They're just gonna fight here, he thought? They'd be fighting in a deserted area in the back of an alley, with Revchi then walking to Yuno as he would then grab his grimoire. Stop, yells Yuno, you're never gonna be able to use it anyway. That's mine! Yeah, as long as you don't die though, this is mine for now. As Yuno grits his teeth in anger, however, the book then goes flying out of Revchi's hands as he barely manages to release some chains to latch onto the book, but then they shatter as Asta would then catch it while walking out. So a 4-leaf bastard like you can't even fight this weakling, huh? Am I being saved or berated, thought Yuno. Revchi would then get on guard, but seeing that Asta was strong, had a 3-leaf. Don't know what that was, but you ain't gonna beat me. I used to be a magic knight. As he prepares a spell, however, Asta would then appear right in front of him, leaving him shot as a punch is then slammed into his stomach, causing a massive shockwave that blinds Yuno just as he is then released. A I barely saw him move, Rev, she thought, as he then collapsed, and Asta then threw the book back to Yuno, who catches it and would thank him. Hey, I didn't do this for you, okay? I'm not letting you get even a little bit stronger than me. Got it, yells Asta. Yuno was once again left confused, as Asta would then walk up, huffing, and Yuno clenches his fist, realizing just because he has a 4-leaf doesn't mean that he's strong. He has to work even harder now. 6 months are given to those applying to be knights, and during these months, Asta would try and fight some grade 1 beasts, but he would lose completely and end up in a near-death state. As he looks forward to a smiling beast who would be jumping around as if he was imitating a boxer, it would then punch as a shockwave is then hurled at Asta, who barely makes his infinity barrier before then activating his magic. Repel. He would then hit the spirit, but it was not even hurt and only kept smiling more and more as Asta realized this thing was just playing with him, and in a split second, he had a fist to his face. However, the fist then comes to a stop as Asta would then look to see the spirit's head, or beast, whatever, was taken off, and it would then thud to the ground as a man comes into view wielding a sword as he would then turn. They're very adventurous, huh? Hearing these words, Asta would then begin to pass out, with the last thing he saw was the, worried old man running to him, and then he awoke, being startled by the shining sun. With haste, he would then go to sit and instantly feel the wound on his side worsen, and then in runs Kruger. Hey, geez, lay down. Are you that eager to die? Who the hell are you? Okay, lay down first. Okay? Originally, Asta would then do so, as the man then said that he was being too agitated. How did you do that? Do what? How did you beat that thing? Let me guess, you're trying to become a magic knight? I used to be one. Well, I was an instructor. I'm not asking for your backstory here, okay? Yeah, you don't have a lot of friends, do you? Shut up. Kruger would then laugh, saying, I don't know what to tell you. It's experience and magic power. You're pretty impressive, but you shouldn't be willing to kill yourself so easily, to get so strong so fast. Hearing this, the young man becomes quiet, and Kruger sees that he is deep in thought and saddened by something, but he also saw a glint of determination regardless of all of that. I can help you if you want. Why? Why not? Yeah, because that makes people trust you, said Asta. As Kruger laughs more and more, we then pass over the few months, and Asta does actually become Kruger's disciple. Though very standoffish at first, he comes to build a strong bond with him, not only learning mana skin from Kruger, but also swordsmanship. As such, Asta bought a sword just in case his magic became too unstable to use, and he just wanted a little bit of extra flair, and also it was a pretty useful skill to have. The magic, which he has still not learned the name of though, he still did work on it, all that, because he must, and he combined it all into becoming an awesome magic knight. At least he rose a few levels. Now, as the entrance exam is about to arrive, he and Yuno then head out of their homes and unknowingly cross paths and look to each other surprised. However, they do not speak and just walk forward, but their walking then becomes speed walking until they burst with mana and start running. You trying to show me up, huh? Asta asks. I don't know what you're talking about, so you know. With a look of anger, he will then speed up, but Yuno catches up, and they keep having this back and forth eventually until they would stop, and they are both tired of this, tedious, petty fight. But while Yuno was tired, Asta was not, at least not physically, and he arrogantly smiles about it, making Yuno mad. I don't think you and I are gonna get, along very well, Yuno said. Ditto. You're going to the exams too? He would then hand a bit of water to Yuno, but he said he was fine, taking out his own bottle and drinking it, before then saying he was indeed going to the exams. What are you taking? Asked Yuno. I'm gonna pass Voltu Wall. Same, Yuno would say. This will be their first official meeting, and they continue along the walls of Voltu. If you were confused about this, I should explain it to you. To avoid beasts, if you're going on a journey, there are paths alongside many walls that provide for different levels of protection, and Voltu was the safest. These walls are still being expanded to this day, because lately more beasts have been showing up for some reason. But Voltu is still very safe. They eventually then arrive at the Clover capital, and just in time, and they stand at the line with others when they're ready to enter the Colosseum. Already, Asta will be getting many stares from female participants, maybe even some male ones, and as up front, the receptionist then pop a vein from seeing a girl that was up, about to give her grimoire, look back to the young man. He would say, "Hey!" The starter girl would then apologize, showing her grimoire, and she gets her number and goes in, and the man would then click his tongue, saying youngsters these days are too obsessed with how people look, only for him to become blinded by the beauty of Asta when he came to show his grimoire. Oh, wait, hurry up, said Asta. Right, my bad. He then expects his grimoire, seeing Asta was a 3-leaf, and would be very impressed, wishing him good luck and letting him in with a number. Then next up was Yuno, who would show a 4-leaf, leaving everyone stupefied, as Yuno would then look to Asta, who was entering, with an arrogant smile. I'm gonna rip that smug smile off your face, Asta thought. More and more participants then soon flooded the Colosseum, as some would be bothered by the magic birds that were let in, but Asta and Yuno, however, were completely exempt from this treatment, leaving some impressed, just as the birds then began to actually flee, and a voice would be heard. Sorry for being so tardy. Looking up, they see all the captains make their entrance on the scene and become enamored in them, except for Asta, who began to see that these nobles. That's Captain. Oh, that's Captain Vengeance. I heard he was in the run-up for being the next Wizard King. He could even beat a Grey Zero Beast. Yeah, all the captains can. That's so awesome. Vengeance would then say, all right. We'll be overlooking you, but do keep in mind, no matter how amazing you may think yourself to be, the last decision comes to us. The captain's change in tone makes them understand this is really the big leagues, as Vandas would then raise his grimoire into the air, and using his world tree magic, he creates a flying broom that would land at the feet of everybody. I'm sure you know what this is. This act is elementary for a knight, and as such, if you're not able to do it, then you understand why it may be hard for you to be accepted. He then has someone from his squad show how to do it before then letting the other kids begin. Asta would then grab his broom as he begins to spin before then throwing it up, and he would then leap and land on it, beginning to ride. Amazing, all those who saw this, just as would then do the same as he met Asta in the air, but he was sitting down. Stop trying to show off, yells Asta. You made the first move, yells. For commoners, those two were at least adept at flying around, Nozel said. The level of mana is applaudable for their age, Seful going on. Don't let your prejudice cloud you. What prejudice compared to me? But they're mere ants. Freaking drama queen, Yami said. Nozel would then tell Yami to shut up and watch himself, as Yami would then tell Nozel to shut up, calling him weird hair. Meanwhile, and Asta continued to do perfectly with the first test, while some barely even make it off the ground, and as such they're eliminated, but others do manage to rise. Then came the moving target test, with the personal moving target maneuvering around each participant, and as he held his hand out, Asta would then release an invisible shockwave that blew away the moving target, while pierced it with the wind blast. What did he even do? Did you guys see anything? Damn commoners trying to think they're special or something. Arrogant as they might be, they will realize their place soon. The hate from the nobles truly starts to come in at this point, as they become envious of Asta and and Asta would then smile towards one of the groups of them. How about you actually do something except, yapping your mouths off, huh? This commoner. As he got angered by Asta only more, he laughed like a maniac, as Nozel would then call him a barbarian, and the commoners felt confident from just being in Asta's, they were commoners too, so they felt confident just from his actions. The next test was it was just a strength test of sorts, and Asta once again hits the stone target, and he blew it to nothing with an invisible shockwave. And then came the creation portion. Asta can't make anything, so he doesn't try to, which makes the captain slightly lower their opinion of him, because creating something with your magic is a very important step. But then came the one-on-ones, with Fagolion then personally hosting it, as he would instantly see a noble challenge Asta. My beautiful magical made you come to your senses, commoner. Asta would then smirk, making the boy more mad, but of course Fagolion says to go ahead and fight, and everyone will make way for them. A circle is made around the two as they begin to encircle each other while readying their grimoires and mana for battle. Soon, however, the noble will then use his clone magic to create clay-like clones that rush at Asta. Pound him into submission! Feeling the huge release of mana from the noble, the participants become intimidated. Meanwhile, just waits for what Asta would do, and instantly, the clones will come to a stop as they freeze in the air, mid-air, and in that instant, Asta would then unsheath the sword and just slash horizontally, cutting them all in half instantly. That's not enough to fight me, he would say. As all the clones then fade away, the noble is left in shock as Asta would then ready his magic and slash down, and the noble becomes wide-eyed, feeling an overwhelming pressure approach him, and just as at that point, behind him a huge slash would occur, and everyone gets out of the way as the Colosseum would be sliced through. Seriously, what is his magic thought, The noble's eyes would go blank as he begins to foam at the mouth, and he falls to his knees, losing consciousness before then just fully falling over, and Asta would then sheath the sword, but his opponent was completely fine, at least physically. Mentally, he's out. How do you like my magic, he would say. I didn't even see anything. If he can just freeze things like that, then how do you beat him, they'd be thinking. Asta then walks back to the crowd, walking past who would nervously smile, saying, fine, you win this one. Other fights then go on, and would be challenged, and he wins until the selection then comes, and some are completely rejected and get no hands, some get 2 or 3, but overall it is dreadful to see that the bar was so high. When Asta came though, all the captains raised their hands, leaving everyone shocked. With a smile, however, Asta would then say he wanted to be a black bull, leaving everyone else shocked. Wait, seriously? Asked Yami. Got a problem with that, old man? Got a spunk, don't you? The pressure of the captain would then hit the young man, who finds it hard to even breathe, and the others start to feel this as well. But despite that, with a nervous smile, Asta would then look at him. Yeah, I'm a punk, but that's your business now. The pressure would then slowly lessen, with Yami then bursting into laughter, saying he found him interesting, but much like everyone, he was confused as to why he would, choose the lowest of the low. But the decision was made, and being the professional that the captains were, they won't try to change it. And as he walked off, Asta then heard mumbling of him ruining his chances, but he didn't care. This is all going according to plan, he thought. Going up next, Asta would then get all hands and choose the Golden Dawn, which was a much more normal choice, and as the selection continued, soon night fell, with Asta then going to meet Gordon and Inferno as they would wait for Yami. Why the hell are you whispering that? Of course I'm sure about my choice, Asta says to Gordon, as Finner will be surprised, asking if he can actually hear him. Of course I can. Are you stupid or something? Finner would then pop a vein listening to his new kohai, and being scared of having to deal with someone like Langris, he just kind of like had to bottle up his feelings a little bit, because Asta sounds like an elitist, you know? Now, as they talked, would then approach Asta, and he would ask what he wanted. I'm not gonna keep losing to you, said. Wow, him and the four-leaf clover kid are competing, thought Finner. Yeah, right, we'll see about that, Asta said to As the two began to stare down, would then leave being called by Alidora, who clearly seemed annoyed. Would then come out from taking a crap, and then using Fernald's portal, the four would then walk in and end up in the forest facing the base of the Black Bulls. And going back now, Shrimp. The name's Asta, old man. He's then instantly grabbed by the head as he feels his skull being crushed, and he calls Yami a gorilla, telling him to stop, only angering the captain more. Seriously, how is this guy so strong? I'm pretty confident in my physical strength, but he's not a typical guy, huh? Asta thought. An explosion at this point then goes off from the building, and as they all look forward, a bunch of rubble would then fall at their feet, and Yami's grip would then lessen, allowing Asta to set himself free as he would dash and he would run through the smoke cloud until he enters and finds the rowdy mages. Praise me, you mongrels! Magna, who was fighting mid-air, then becomes angered at these words, and he turns to his kohai just as luck would then strike him across the face. Wow, it's a shining prince, said Charmy. At least you know your place, Asta said. Magna would then get up asking who the hell this guy was. Vanessa said that she doesn't know, but he definitely has some looks. And at this moment, from the smoke then walks out Yami. He's new. He's got a bit of a loud, mouth, so teach him some discipline. Ghost then comes up to Asta, showing him a picture of Marie. Isn't she adorable? I don't care, yells Asta. So you've chosen death. Releasing a mirror beam at Asta, he intends to end his kohai, who then dodges, asking what the hell is wrong with him. And Lugda says that they're having so much fun, so he should just jump in and fight. And he would then go at Asta with a lightning claw, but as he strikes, nothing happens to him. Lucky is actually knocked back by something invisible, and he would then ask, wow, how'd you do that? Asta would then smile, going to answer, but he then gains a look of horror. The same happens to everyone as they slowly turn to see Yami raging, so they quickly apologize, and he says, get the hell over here. They instantly all gather, and he probably introduces Asta as a new member, but of course, Magna doesn't accept him yet and proposes a baptism. As they step outside, the two would have the Black Bulls act as an audience of sort and sit on the couch as they tell Magna to go easy on the young boy. Asta, as he unsees the sword, however, would say, if you relax for even 1 second, you will die. His face showed a smile, but his eyes were saying something completely different, and everyone noticed, with Magna then slightly reclusing, saying, alright then, screw the testing, let's brawl, you little shit. He creates a fire bat and fireballs as he then swings and heaves them at Asta, who would dodge while rushing forward, and then when one comes to reach his face, it would stop right before him as he would then leave all the knights and everyone confused, and in an instant, Asta appears right in front of him, having his sword right at his senior's face. Whoa, said Vanessa. Magna would then begin to shake uncontrollably as he let go of his fire bat, which then faded to nothing, and he fell back and smiled. So you're not just all talk, are ya? Seeing his sword, he would then obviously say that of course he wasn't going to. Seeing his sword, he says obviously, giving Magna a hand and helping him up. If you can mouth off, then you can be ready to prove yourself next time, right? I like you, said Magna. I'm 50-50. The anger yet enamored Magna would then put him in a nuggie, saying that he's going to be a real handful as Asta yells for him to release him, and the other bulls then approach, saying hi in their own weird ways, because they are the weirdest of the weird, as well as the lowest of the low. They then fade to black. A few minutes later, Asta can be seen walking with Magna to the beast cage, and Asta becomes shocked when seeing grade 1 beasts in there. What the hell? Hey, get used to it. Apparently the captain is holding these for someone. For who? Someone strong enough to actually subdue these things? Seriously, they gotta have a screw loose or something. And be super strong. Seeing this made Asta realize now even more that the gap was large between him and other knights and other people, but it also made him kind of excited. How do you keep them so docile though, he asked. Magna would then say to look up, and Asta sees a magic stone of red color, as Magna would then say they are used to weaken these creatures, reducing them to an almost vegetative state. How do you not know this? Asta, having lived in his whole, life on the edge of, the dark abyss, the cursed abyss, never looked for ways to weaken the creatures, and even now, seeing this measure, he was not going to be, using it. He was not the least bit interested. He just wanted to fight. You truly are ignorant. As the mole enters the tunnel, she then sees an annoyed Asta and a confused Magna turn to her, and her face then instantly turns red upon seeing the so-called commoner. Why does he look like that? As she's stuck in a daze, she doesn't even notice Asta come up, as he would then flick her on the forehead and surprising her, as she stumbles back asking what the hell he's doing. That's what I should be asking you. Who's ignorant, huh? Noelle then tries to keep her Noelle then tries to keep her composure and says that only ignorant people don't know what inverse crystals are. Whatever, the fact that you're in the Black Bulls shows you're kind of desperate. What are you then? Asta goes to answer, but something very specific catches his eye. Her brooch, one that showed the sign of the Silver family, and instantly he gains a much more angry demeanor, catching Noelle off guard and scaring her. She didn't know what it was, but this reaction and release of bloodlust. She just readied her grimoire out of instinct and brought out her wand before then shooting out a huge water ball, only for it to then bust, becoming crushed by the pressure of Asta's mana that characteristically exudes such pressure. And she becomes shocked, seeing her spell ended so easily, as Asta would then stare her down, and her look of worry then turns to despair and anger, and she would then grab her robe and rip it off and throw it to the ground. Hey! She then runs off, angry and crying, as Mana would then come over and, caress his robe, because, it's his baby. He cares a lot about the team. And she wished that she never joined this rundown place, and she freaking yelled it. And this is when, Mana would call Noelle bitch. And the feeling was mutual, for Asta. He felt the same, but he could not contain himself and just walked off as well, leaving Mana confused. What the hell is wrong with you people? He yells. As night fell, Asta then went to his own room and was gifted a robe, and the next day he was forced to do chores, but he would force Manga to help him regardless of what he said, and so he went out to start training. But he picks up some sounds and heads to the other side of the base, as from the bushes he then watches as Noelle trains. She throws an attack and misses, making Asta chuckle. Man, she sucks. He then comes to a stop when he sees her fire another attack, and he finally sees all around her the dance made by her magic. She had been doing this since morning, and even though she had been missing, she just didn't give up. This slowly frustrates Asta, who can only watch her miss and miss and miss. He thought, stop acting like you have it tough, you freaking princess. He, however, could only watch, not knowing how to react. Meanwhile, Noelle would then fire another attack and another, thinking back to Asta's stare a little bit. He's just like all of them mocking me. She then fires another shot and it curves, plunging into the ground, and she fires another that misses again. Why? Why won't you listen to me? Just hit! Her mana then goes out of control as she fires another water ball, and he would then come to imprison her and start drowning her. Dang it, can't stop. Asta watches as the spell would then ravage the forest, and he has to jump back as a tree beside him would then be completely left ripped out, and he is left shot by the potent mana she possesses. This only makes him more mad because he doesn't know what to do, and there's too much mana for his own magic to unravel. However, the bulls then arrive on the scene and quickly get to work on thinking up what to do, and Luck would then say, "Hey Captain, throw me." They all look at him like he's crazy, but Yami then smiles, saying why not, as he then grabs the little battle maniac and hurls him to the skies. While enhancing himself with mana, Luck would then create his lightning boots and claws, only to be backhanded by a water web as he crashes into Magna, and they watch as the water ball would then explode and grow even bigger, hitting part of their base. What do we do? There's no way we can actually stop this without hurting her, said Charmy. Those level 1 beasts might be even too much for me to handle by myself, thought Yami. She hates the cage, and she might disrupt the stone. His thoughts then wonder as everyone is honestly stumped, only for Asta to then run out in front of them. Don't mess with me. He would then explode with mana as he holds his hand out, while a white mana circle would then form and expand below his feet. Mana would then say, Asta, shut up. She's gonna ruin everything. They're not gonna ruin everything like they always do. Not this time. In that instant, his grimoire would then shine as everyone notices he has a new spell, and Asta would then smile, saying, took you long enough. So that's your name, huh? The circle then expands even more as beside the giant water ball, appear two bluish orbs of mana, and all the falling excess water freezes and slowly begins to twitch, losing solid form, and they burst until Asta would scream, and it is all pulled apart and swallowed by these gigantic orbs of mana that would then spew the water elsewhere, showering the forest and base with makeshift rain, leaving Noelle alone as she begins to fall, and quickly Asta would then dash as he catches her just in time. You don't get to show off in front of me. That was the most manly thing I've ever seen, said Magna. As Luck gets off Magna, he would then ask Asta if he wants to fight later, and everyone approaches as Noelle would then wake coughing water until she slowly opens her eyes. Uncontrollably, she once again blushes, and Asta would then instantly drop her, saying, I'm not gonna lose to you, you hear me? What? She would say. My magic's always gonna overpower yours, no matter what. Got it? He's then smacked across the head by Vanessa, who says, he means you're like his rival. Noelle is then surprised by this, but then sees everyone looking to her with hopeful eyes, just as Luck would then say that explosion of mana was, as crazy as it was awesome. You just need a bit of training, said Vanessa. I can give you some lessons. Here, have a cookie, Charmy said as she hands Noelle a snack, and the girl is flabbergasted. And the final nail is Asta holding his hand out to help her, despite his reaction from before. You better get that shit under control if you're ever gonna beat me. He's really confusing, thought Noelle. What is he even talking about? But despite thinking this, she would then take his hand, because though her goal was not to beat Asta, now knowing her potential was recognized, even if just a bit, she was not going to fall behind, and look Asta straight in the eye, she would say, I will. With this, Noel gets welcomed back into the group as an actual bull, and the house strangely re-heals itself overnight, prompting Asta to ask Yami about it, and Yami then shows him Henry. As he stood before the sleeping man, his eyes then flicker, and for a moment he sees a murky aura. What the? Yami then asks what's wrong, and he would then wipe his eyes before then looking again, and the aura was gone, leaving him confused and annoyed. But not knowing of his curse, he then walked up to Henry, with Yami waiting for him to feel the effect of it, but Asta even holds Henry's hand, sympathizing with him, and yet his mana was fine. And at this point, Henry would then wake up as Asta would say, I know you don't know me, but I just wanted to say, it'll get better. Henry would then be confused, asking, how are you still fine? What do you mean? Henry then looks to Yami, who shrugs his shoulders, and the man just gives up, smiling at Asta, who, just says, again, he's gonna be fine, and Henry would then thank him. Meanwhile, Yami just thought, the hell's up with this kid's magic? He's the weirdest spatial mage I've personally seen. Not even a hint is leaving his body. Time skip 3 days. Using his new spell Azure Blue, Asta would not only be able to freeze level 2 beasts, but cut them up with his katana. He has a katana, but he also could pull them together with so much force that they explode to bloody guts. Azure Blue, he would announce, as the spell would then bring some beasts running towards him, and they start to be pulled away, and they claw at the ground, only to be brought back, together and crushed into a bloody paste, and they would then clash with their own kin and just die. But as their blood and carcass hit the floor, Asta could not help but have flashbacks to the overwhelming wall that the level 1 beast, the grade 1 beast, that beat him, and he clenches his fist as he puts away his sword, and he heads back to the wall of Votu. After passing it, he then heads back to the base, and arrives as when he then enters, he sees a naked Magna and Yami, who would have just gotten home as well. Oh hey Asta, says Magna, you put some goddamn clothes on. After doing so, the two would then explain that they lost the bet, and now Noel and Magna were going to go on the first mission, which needed them to beat some boars. Asta took the mission because he needed something to distract him. Noel came because she likes Asta, but also wants to test her magic, which she has been practicing much more. So accompanied by Magna, they make it there. Asta does ride on his own broom though. And we then see Asta slice through a boar after a boar, and he would then come to a stop when he sees Noel almost hurt by one, and he rushes in, appearing beside the boar as his head would then fall off. Seriously, what the hell are you doing? Sorry, it's just really hard. Asta then would sheath his sword, and he would say, how about you stop closing your eyes first off? Shut up, what do you know? She then begins to blush as they continue to argue, and Magna would then cut in saying to stop. Jeez, what is wrong with you two? Asta's being annoying. Noel's stupid. Noel would then say to shut up, and she fights back again, with Magna starting to feel very tired, but then they all simultaneously feel a huge surge of mana. Moving forward to Sashi village, they find it enveloped by a barrier of mist, and Magna would say, this thing's covering the entire village. Asta would then take a closer look, and for only a moment he faintly sees something, as he would then quickly punch before then pulling back his hand and yanking part of the barrier off as he would then rush in. Oh right, says Magna. He and Noel then run in as Asta would then run and run forward and forward until he reaches the village, and he would then see an old man almost pierced by an icicle, but luckily he just manages to hold his hand out and thus using his infinity to stop it, and he would shatter it as he would then run in front of them, and Heath would become very bothered. Don't worry, I'm here. Noticing he was a magic knight, the villagers become very happy, just as Magna and Noel then arrive, and instantly Magna would then ready his grimoire, as does Noel, who runs to the villagers asking if they're okay. The young child who had just almost lost his grandpa nods and hugs him, with Heath then speaking, why are you stopping their execution? The hell do you mean execution, you bastard, said Magna. Your words mean nothing. These commoners were set to be killed, and so they shall be. Magna, recognizing the old man that had almost just died as the one they lost to, would seethe with anger, as well as Noel and Asta, who would then hold his hand out, saying, let's destroy these bastards. In that instant, his grimoire would then glow as all Heath's men would then pull to the sky and slam together, catching them off guard as they would be knocked out, before Magna would then barrage them with his fire magic, and he would say explosive scatter shot. They fall to the ground beaten and burned, and the mist barrier would then fade, with Asta then rushing and appear in front of Heath, and he would swing down with his sword, but the mage would then make a ice shield, which completely blocks it. This guy's actually kinda strong, he thought. As he says this, Magna would then throw another barrage at Heath, who counters it with his own barrage that blows away Magna's and almost hurts him, but he manages to dodge. But in that instant, Asta would then push and break the barrier, the ice shield, my bad, and in doing so, he does a full swing, and a huge cut bursts from Heath's chest. He then falls over in pain, as Asta would then say, I'm your opponent, you bastard. He would then manage to get up out of anger, as he would then use more barrages, which Asta and Magna had to stand in the way of and keep blocking. Noel, meanwhile, wonders what the hell she's doing. I'm just staying back. I can't even help it, and they're putting their body on the line for these villagers. As she looks back at the worried people, she then feels a rise in magical energy and looks up to see a storm of icicles falling. After they're gone, you'll be next, said Heath. Asta, as he slashes through another attack, however, will then smile. Nah, it's your turn, because when Noel gets backed into a corner, She goes a bit crazy. As Lee leaves an eyebrow to this, in that instant, she would then burst with magic as Rickroar would then give her a new spell, allowing her to make a sea dragon's cradle, leaving all the villagers amazed as she would then yell, "Do it!" Asta would then slash forward with all his strength, saying limitless magic. He gains a new spell unknowingly as it becomes inscribed in his brain. He would then say, "Dimensional cut." His torso once again bursts with blood as a huge gash would then appear, and he instantly understands he never had a chance, and the only reason he was winning was because, well, they were forced to block his attacks. And he falls, losing to the bulls, and Mountain would then turn to Noelle, saying, "Not bad, newbie. Of course, I'm a noble after all." We will end this part off here. And that is the end of the video. Tell me down below what you think I could do better. Of course, you've noticed that, yeah, Asta isn't OP yet. That's because I'm giving him the same journey that Gojo has. Gojo was not always that strong. For those of you who haven't read, as far into the manga, he wasn't weak, but like he wasn't as strong as he is currently in the anime and current manga. So I'm trying to build the same thing. You will see by the fourth part, that's when things go crazy. So hang on to this. That's just gonna be crazy. It's so crazy. I love how I wrote that scene. It is bloody. Alright, I will go finish my One Piece series so I can finally have a peace of mind. One Piece is so goddamn long, man. I swear to God, man. Alright, see y'all later. Peace. I'm gone. They'll be calling